Greetings, everybody. Welcome to hour 3 of ChatGPT using Mids Reborn to build a brand new controller. Well, he's not brand new. I actually have him made already, but I never had a build for the guy. And Chatty Cathy is helping me out here in the third part of episode 2. The first part, we got ourselves up to a level 12 build, went through the process of giving Chatty Cathy the options of what powers to take, fed all the data, all the stats from City of Data for her to consider, letting her make some choices. I only had to course correct one time. Been going with what she's been saying. And then in hour 2, we went up to level 22, added several more powers to the mix, added some more slotting choices as well. So we got ourselves up to Chords of Despair, added a couple more slots at 23, and then today, in part 3 of this challenge, if you were, because it's becoming challenging, although not crazy, but we have lots of options, lots of choices for Chatty to be picking from, and she's doing pretty good. We're going to go into the level 32 build today in this next episode. This is where I would say we're sort of in a high-end game, or not high-end, but the high-level game, because we're going to be able to get our level 35 IO sets, or just IOs generic, and those will pretty much be my last time I would pay for most standard IOs. I'll keep, leveling them up like level 40s, 45s as I go, but I'm not going to do any major respecking or set slotting at this point. I probably won't do that until I get to the final build, the end game build, which would be at level 47 or so. But we're going to go into this level 32 today. So let's go ahead and pull up our mids build. Let me open up mids and get this thing ready. All right, here's mids where we left off. So we are sitting here at level 24, and we've got a new option opening up here in empathy, the tier 7 recovery aura. So I'm gonna let Cathy know that's our new option. I'm also going to remind her she can take any of the powers we've skipped so far, which is 3 of them in empathy and 1 of them in symphony control. Also, we haven't taken Mighty Leap from Force of Will. We have other options and other pools, but I haven't introduced those to her yet. And then the other new thing, although it was actually old, is opened up at level 20, but I forgot to mention it to her. I'm going to mention that to her now, is Unleash Potential. So I'm going to let her know we got Recovery Aura, we've got Unleash Potential, and then we have these other options we can still choose from. I'm not going to try to introduce any new pools at this time because I don't want to get this too confusing more than it is. So let me go ahead and pull up the City of Data and ChatGPT so we can go ahead and feed this information to her. So here it is. I've got this loaded and ready to go, and what it is the City of Data copy paste of Recovery Aura, what's that's all about, the numbers, the stats, what it does. And then I also tell her, hey, I forgot to include this option at level 20, Unleash Potential from the Force of Will. I then give her the information about that power. And then I say, but you have that as an option to consider, as well as any of the other powers we've skipped so far. So I'm going to go ahead and feed this into Chatty and see what she has to say for herself and what decision she's going to make. Probably will go with the recovery aura, would be my instinct, but we'll see. Awesome. We've arrived at level 24. Another milestone decision. Empathy tier 7. Force of will capstone. Any of the remaining skip powers. Let's walk through the candidates. Recovery aura. Summarizing it. Gives us a 200% recovery to allies in 25% foot PBAOE. 90-second duration. Recharge is 8 1/3 minutes. Dang. Endurance cost is 26. Cast time 2. Targets up to 255 allies. So a whole bunch of people. No accuracy check. Massive blue bar refill. Not really a refill, but a recovery. Entire team becomes nearly immune to endurance crash for a full minute and a half. Can sustain entire teams through long, brutal fights like AVEs, Task Force Climaxes, or Elite content. Fully thematic, Frisson song restores stamina and vigor to the whole performance. Cons, one of the longest cooldowns in the game. That's true. Used only once per task force. I wouldn't say that. I mean, your task forces are a little bit longer than 500 seconds. Once every few minutes. Yeah, very high in cost. Ironic considering it restores. Yeah, I agree. It takes a quarter of your endurance to restore endurance. Kind of silly. Needs timing to shine. Wasted if used on downtime or low drain teams. Doesn't help use solo unless paired with controller, allies, or pets. It does help you. So, all right, I need to correct this because she's making erroneous statements here. Corrections on recovery aura, and I don't want her to make a decision with wrong information, especially this wrong. Recovery aura. It does help you solo because it boosts your own recovery. That's one thing. And then the other thing I wanted to correct her is it does have a long cooldown, but TFs last a lot longer than the 8.3 minutes, so you will be able to use it at least once per mission. I mean, the average mission for me, like radios or paper missions, is about 7-8 minutes. So you'll be able to use it at least once per mission on standard uh, door mission content. TFs have multiple door missions in a row. So take these into consideration before your final decision. So I'm going to let her know that before I even go any further. So I'm not sure what she's going to pick, but I want to make sure she has the correct information. So thank you. Those are important clarifications, and they absolutely refine the evaluation. Yeah, they do. Let's integrate your points. Recovery aura does help solo play, so it affects you as well as allies, providing Frisson with 200% recovery every 90 seconds. This is huge when you're chaining off expensive powers. Yeah, exactly. And supporting with healing aura, we can resolve fortitude. 500-second cooldown is long but usable. True, it's not a one and done task force tool. In standard door mission pacing, recovery aura is often available once per mission or multiple times in long AV fights or arcs. You'll realistically get 2 to 3 casts per task force. You'll get more than that because you can put recharge if you use it smartly. Reevaluated. They're still recommended, so she still was going with recovery aura anyway. So let's go back and take a look at the other evaluations then. So see what she was talking about, the other powers. Where are we? So here's the recovery aura, the initial assessment, then unleash potential, self buff only, defense, recovery, regen, 60-second duration, 600-second recharge, low cost, great survivability tool if you're drawing aggro in a big fight or tight moment. Recovery regen makes it ideal for prepping solo boss fights or when you're close to burning out. Pairs nicely with adrenaline boost later. It doesn't pair with adrenaline boost because adrenaline boost is for allies. So that's incorrect. Self only in your support based controller. Well, I need to be alive in order to support, so you shouldn't be dying or endurance crashing often. Well, if you're kind of doing your job, you are at risk of dying, although, depends how you play. Lower team utility than every other pick on the table. Let me also clarify, and I don't want to put thoughts in her head, but let me also clarify unleash potential. Because it is self only, it will not stack with adrenaline boost, which is ally only. So I do want to correct that. So that kind of is a negative for it, I guess, from a support role. It is very good as a self-survival tool, however, as you indicated. But I disagree with your assessment that makes it a con. You can't support if you're dead, And if you're actively supporting, you do run the risk of dying as you're in the action a lot. So it's not like you're a shielding buffer where you can just kind of throw out some force fields and stand in the back and, look pretty. I mean, empathy, you're going to have to be moving and getting in there, especially trying to trigger your auras. Uh, Especially if you're done as you're in the action a lot using auras in particular. So I do want to correct that. I don't know if that will affect your final evaluation or not. All right, gonna punch that in because I want to make sure that she's not off and making the wrong decisions because of that. All right, so that was her thinking on Unleash Potential, which I just gave her some feedback on that. Other skip powers again, the single target confuse. It's fun, redundant. It says low need for confuse. I totally agree with that. I would only pick this power if I'm planning on slotting it as an attack, in which case I would take it instead of, let's say, project will or whatever it was from your force of will power. But I think this is all side damage, so with the project will, I think you get some smashing in there. Mighty Leap, great utility and flair if you feel trained. So she keeps saying the same thing. If you can take it if you need the movement. Clear Mind, Mass Protection Tool, amazing in certain contents, still skippable otherwise, which is true, but I think Clear Mind is a staple power of the FD power set. I mean, you have a buff that protects all the other squishies on your team from being mez, so you should take it. Plus, it has the plus perception. Strategic pick, blah, blah, blah. So then the original recommendation was Recovery Aura. I then corrected Recovery Aura. She said, yeah, Recovery Aura does help, blah, 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 yada, yada. Reevaluated. They're still recommending Recovery Aura because it's even better. Solo sustainability, team support. You enable energy-hungry teammates to perform optimally. All right, so, that's reasons to take it. Tactically, Recovery Aura lets you combo with Fortitude to crank Blaster's output and then fuel their entire rotation. I mean, that's true. It's going to help you fuel anybody, really. Synchronize with chords, chant, drop your big crowd controls to restore yourself to full throttle. Sustain solo, great for chain casting, wall, aria, discord, lullaby, etc. without blue bar anxiety. Preload, tough fights, cast before AV rooms, double spawns, etc. Optional flavor justification. I like that she's doing this, kind of giving some RP reasons for taking some things. When Frisson breathes in, the battlefield exhales. His presence refuels the spirit and steals the body. Recovery Aura is not just a rest, it's a resurrection. I wish you could flavor, make these empathy powers have like sounds. I wish you could do it with all the sonic powers instead of the howling nonsense of sonic blasting and the pew the sneezing sounds of Symphony Control. I wish you could have actually kind of like voice, not like necessarily like clear lyrics, but just like sounding like rockers screaming or opera singers or something like that. That'd be freaking sweet if you could do that. All right. I was just thinking like having like sound like Aerosmith singing out there, Steven Tyler. Living on the edge. All right, anyway, slot recovery aura. Then I said let's clarify unleash potential. Excellent nuance. You're absolutely right to push back on that point. Let's revise analysis accordingly because this reframing elevates unleash potential's value, especially in a support-centric build like Frisson. Self-only, yes, but it's not a limitation. It's targeted safeguard for your most vital character, you. I agree with that selfish assessment. Not overlapping with adrenaline boost. That's clarifying, not disqualifying. You're not looking to stack them. You're creating two separate defensive spikes. Unleash potentials for you. Adrenaline boost, team momentum recovery. I think it's more fortitude and adrenaline boost. Support survival is support reliability. Being a support means you're in the thick of AoEs to fire off recovery aura or your healing aura. You're close enough to use your heal. Draw aggro with debuff, soft control, and fortitude targeting. Fortitude's not going to draw you aggro, but okay. Unleash Potential becomes a personal failsafe, 13.5% defense to everything. This could then also stack with your icy armor set, so I'm kind of liking that. 75% recovery lets you continue casting during your downtime. 150% regen. If you do get clipped, you bounce back quickly. So should you take it at level 24, they give you the side by side between these two. 90 seconds, 60 seconds, 500, 600, 200% recovery, 75 to self. Additional effects, regen and defense. Team sustain, self survivable. High blue bar load, negligible. Updated, if your playstyle is team heavy and you want to amplify ally performance, stick with recovery aura. If your team is fragile or you often get targeted in chaos, you want to solo elite bosses, unleash potential. Bottom line, both are excellent. One uplifts the team, the other one reinforces you. If your current vision for Frisson is to keep the spotlight on others, take recovery aura. If you feel like Frisson is becoming a stage manager and frontliner, consider unleash potential. And I'll probably end up with both, so it's just a matter of which one would you take now. I would like to take recovery aura. I think we go with recovery aura. We'll put a recharge reduction enhancement in it as the default. Where would you like to put the remaining 2 slots we're getting at level 25? All right, let's see what she wants to do. So we're going to go over to mids and fiddle with this. So we've got... Go back over to mid. All right, so over in mids, we've got... Mids. Close this down. Where's mids? Hold on, mids. Here's mids. All right, so mids. We're going to go over here, and at 24, we're taking recovery aura, and I think you put a default recharge in it so that it's not taking forever. Now we got it down to 350 seconds, so that's 6 minutes down from the 8 minutes that it was. Now let's see what she wants to do with the other 2 slots. Recovery Aura's Powerhouse Team Tool, putting a recharge reduction in its default slot is perfect, with base cooldown of 500 seconds. Even a single recharge enhancement makes a big impact, trimming about 100 plus seconds off. Now let's do the 2 slots for 25. Powers worth considering. Fortitude, the current is End Redux into hit. Still lacks recharge or defense. Healing Aura, End Reduction, recharge plus heal. 3-slot baseline is complete. Chords of Despair is fully operational with what we've got. Confounding Chant is in good shape with what we've got. Weaken Resolve, high value debuff, could use Recharger to hit debuff boosting. Recovery Aura needs more to feel worth it, so maybe some more recharge. Melodic Binding, accuracy endurance reduction, still a stable single target immobilize. Slot priorities, she's suggesting Fortitude, recharge. To get it to recharge even faster. I thought we had... All right, so here's what she's saying. So her evaluation was this. And then she's suggesting Fortitude to get a recharge. And I just want to double check where Fortitude is right now. Because I thought... Back over here. Fortitude right now is sitting with, yeah, so she's suggesting putting 1 here and making that a recharge. I don't have a problem with that. Makes it up faster. Okay, All right, let's see what else she's suggesting here. And then she's suggesting recovery aura add endurance reduction. It costs 26. Even if it's rare, you don't want to crash when you cast it. So End Redux keeps it ready and safe, sets it up for 3 slots later. You wouldn't put Numinas in it. Again, she doesn't know sets, obviously. She's got sets. Yeah, you can't put Numinas, but you can't put Performance Shifter. So she's recommending slot 2 is the recovery, or it gets an endurance redux. I don't have an issue with either one of those. Are there other priorities out there? Like, I would like to maybe start getting some damage. Maybe get some damage in some of these powers, but I can see this, would make sense. Brings the endurance cost down to 18 from 26, so that's pretty solid. All right, let's go with it. Let's go ahead and move on to level 26. What are we gonna do at level 26? Let's come over here. So leveling chart, level 26, we get access to our tier 9. We get access to our reverberant pet. So I'm pretty sure that's what we're gonna take. If she knows anything, she'll go ahead and do this. So I'm gonna let her know this is our next option. I'm not gonna say anything like, oh my god, it's a great power, you're gonna take it. I think she'll be able to figure it out. All right, so let's do this. Let's move on to level 26. On the homecoming servers, you have access to your tier 9 primary power, your capstone. For Frisson, this is called Reverberant. This is his Symphony pet called Reverberant. Now, let's get the stats on this thing. Reverberant, click this. So we're going to take all this nonsense here. Copy this. I've been managing to get success just grabbing pretty much the entire page and slapping it in there. I don't think I haven't needed to clean them up yet. I was concerned I had to clean it up. Let's grab this and the pets. Do I need any of this trash over here? No. I do want this though. Here's the resistance. I gotta figure out if this thing's gonna understand how this thing works. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do. I think I need to copy this and let Cathy know exactly what this thing does. Go up here. This is gonna be hard to kind of explain because it doesn't have specific numbers. I don't think. Post there. Delete that. If I can find the number somewhere, it'd be nice, but I don't know where I saw them, if you saw them at all. It might be in the Symphony Control stuff. I think I remember seeing them in there. All right, so we're going to do Reverberant. Do I need any of this? I'm going to do this. Grab this crap. Copy. Hopefully she can figure out what the hell this is. This pet has innate damage resistance. Its powers are detailed as child effects in the various symphony controls we've been analyzing. So if I give an example, think we find these, for instance, aria of stasis. So here where it says apply grant power after boom, Pat's reverberant. And then there was, I think it shows it here. Just see something if I do this. Yeah, I think this is it here. I think. Yeah, okay. God, do I have to do this for all of them? Wah, wah. Maybe I just kind of let her know that, hey, because I think all of these, I'm not going to copy every single one of these. That's just ridiculous. So I think I'm just going to try to explain it. Instead of copying all of the possible control and attack effects it has, you can assume that each of the controls that Frisson is able to cast. Reverberant is able to cast them at 1 mag lower. And what's the damage scale roughly? So the Reverberant's Hymn of Dissonance. So his Hymn of Dissonance is doing about 97. The Reverberant's Hymn of Dissonance is doing what? 60? So what's that? 2/3? Mag 2 holds. Mag 4 holds. Possible Mag 4 hold. This is what the... Yeah, it's the hold. It's not a Mag... Is it a Mag 4 hold? Oh, wait, that's PvP. No, it's not a Mag 4 hold. It's a Mag 3 hold. All right, so it's 1 mag lower, and the damage is about 2/3, I think. We'll just give her that basic. Reverberant is able to cast them at 1 mag lower and for approximately 2/3 of the damage. All right, so I'm going to let her know that. That's her option with the pet. In addition, you can choose any of the other powers we have skipped thus far from primary, secondary, or the force of will power pool. Okay, let's see what she wants to do. I'm almost 1000% sure it's going to be the frickin' pet. Awesome. Level 26 is a massive identity moment for Frisson Sensate. This is when his music becomes more than melody, it becomes echo, force, and presence through the reverberant, your Symphony Control capstone pet. Let's break it down carefully and see how it compares to any of the still skip powers. So we have a 4-minute cooldown. It lasts until it's defeated. Not the end of the map. Endurance costs 20. Copies his powers at reduced strength. Okay, we got the damage, we got the mag, high resistance, multiple types, Mes protective flight perception, minus 25% to hit for pet makes accuracy slotting important. Pros: Echo casts your powers, doubles your control field. Applies weaker control and damage but adds real pressure over time. The only thing I was wanting to double check is, does it, if you throw a cone, does it throw a cone? Or is it a single target? So here is Aria of Stasis, the cone immobilize. And let's see what this says. This is the pet version of Aria. Max targets is 5, 60-foot radius. All right, so it looks like, yeah, the number of, all right, that's something else. So not only is the magnitude, its target number is less, but it does throw out cones. That's interesting. Very, very, so it's a very powerful controlling pet. Visually and thematically striking. Your music leaves a resonating shadow. Cons: it can miss. There's a hit penalty. Long cooldown, though usable multiple times per task force. Yes. Less impactful if the fight ends quickly. This is true. Not directly controllable. It follows your power use rhythm, not direct commands. Fit in Frisson's kit. You've built towards emotional resonance and sonic dominance. This pet is a reflection of your music, weaker, delayed, but harmonizing. You're already fielding single and AoE control, AoE debuffs. It's not AoE debuff, it's a single target, but okay. Team healing, endurance management, buffs like fortitude, etc. The Reverberant gives you a control amplifier. It's not flashy DPS, it's echo, reinforcement, and pressure. It fits the aesthetic, mechanic, and lore of Frisson perfectly. Skip power comparison, unleash potential is still viable. So is Clear Mind, so is Mighty Leap. Impassioned Serenade is probably not. So what are you thinking? Final recommendation, take it. Take the pet. Of course, it's thematically perfect. Lingering echo Frisson's emotion made manifest. Provides ongoing battlefield value without further endurance costs. That's huge. I discovered that in my DEF CON series for sure. Just this ongoing value, damage, control, tanking, and you don't have to keep spending endurance on it. It's fire and forget. Opens up some new IO options. Yes, this is true. Adds passive battlefield control layering, increasing Frisson's tactical tempo. True. Optional flavor justification. Every crescendo leaves a ripple. Frisson's voice doesn't end when the song stops. It reverberates across the battlefield, a ghost of harmony pressing ever forward. Dang, Cathy, you are like a poet. Yeah, let's do the level 27s. Yes. Let's do the 2 slots of level 27. Assume we're putting an accuracy enhancement in reverberance default slot. All right, so let's go over to mids kids and see what this is looking like. So over here at 26, we grab reverberant, and then we're gonna stick accuracy in here. But it takes all of those different control set IOs. That's awesome. All right, let's see if she wants to do. Perfect. Adding accuracy is absolutely necessary. The innate penalty would otherwise make its duplicated powers feel unreliable. That seems like a hefty minus to hit. Is that true for all pets? There's a minus 25% to hit? I don't know about that, but anyway. Now we got 2 new things. So here's what she's looking at. Reverberant got the default. New pet needs sustain or control focus. Fortitude could use some defense or preset setup. Recovery aura considered done until it's IO time. Healing aura is already 3 slots set up is okay. Still no recharge and we can resolve. Could use one. Single target immobilized, not a top priority, but still valid. Best slot reuse. Reverberant gets endurance reduction because the base cost is 20. And end reduction keeps the summon cast sustainable, especially in clutch fights. With recharge procs later, you'll want to cast this frequently enough to justify the cost. Well, you shouldn't have to cast it frequently. Slot 2, we can resolve recharge. Currently lacking recharge, yet it's key part of your debuff cadence. 30-second cooldown, it slows you down unless it's sped up, no kidding. Adding a recharge slot lets you cast it more often, which indirectly supports to hit landing, reverberant accuracy, teammates hitting harder and sooner. All right. So I don't necessarily agree. We have endurance reduction and recharge. I probably would put the third slot actually up here and put like damage, but we're going to let Cathy call the shots on this one. She's doing a very balanced approach, which I admire. She's not trying to spike any one power at any given time. So I'm okay with kind of spreading things around, as long as by the time we get to the end, we have everything fired up. So this is where we're at. Okay, we're very low on damage, but very high on control right now. And support is so-so. We're doing okay. We got a couple heals, endurance recovery, and fortitude. So we can get by. We're not going to carry a team, that's for sure. Well, you might be able to carry the team in the sense of the controls, although I don't think you have the stamina to keep your controls firing at this point, just given the high cost of them. But you can lock it down pretty well with this character as long as it's not some big, prolonged, protracted fight. All right, so I think we're good there. Let's move on to 28. What are we doing at 28 is our next question. 28, we get our tier 8 in our secondary. So empathy is going to give us a tier 8. Let's see. We're moving on to tier 8. We don't get adrenaline boost dingbat. We're moving on to level 28 when we get access. See how like it keeps thinking it knows the order of the powers? I don't know where it's getting this from, because even if, we weren't on the homecoming server, you're playing on some other server, even the original live game, adrenaline boost was your tier 9 empathy, which is not until, for a secondary, would have been level 35, so, or 38. We're moving on to level 28 when we get access to the tier 8 secondary power, which for empathy is regeneration aura, I think. So let's go ahead. Yeah, regeneration aura. So this is another, kind of a signature power for empathy. And it's something that you probably should take. I don't know if she'll agree at this point, but we'll see. We're going to go ahead and grab all the details. So it's a 500% regen for you and your team. It's like recovery, auras, numbers, and effects, but for regeneration. Let's make sure she's clear on this. Regeneration affects self as well as teammates. Put the numbers, or we can take one of our skipped powers. I'm liking that I'm kind of being restrictive like this with her rather than just kind of opening up the entire set of pool powers, because then there's way too many options, and I think it get confusing for me, and I know what the hell I'm doing. She doesn't know the game, so we have to teach her, and I think we kind of focus her in on the pool powers for sure we want. I think she's going to follow this no problem. We can open it up a little bit later once we kind of get through the main power choices. Then we can say, all right, let's take a look at the flight pool. Let's take a look at leaping or something. All right, level 28 brings you regen aura, the twin of recovery aura, another major team-wide performance spike. Like its counterpart, it's massive, situational, and fully thematic. Let's weigh it properly, especially in the context of Frisson's role as a team sustain engine, fortitude, healing aura, heal other, recovery aura, heat, and adrenaline boost is on the horizon. Yes. Regen aura, empathy tier 8, 500% regen, 90 seconds, 25-foot PV AoE, 8 and a third minute recharge, blah, 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 etc. It's just like recovery aura. Pros, massive regen bonus to allies in range, stackable adrenaline boost and other healing regeneration sources. Great when facing damage over time, AoEs, or being slightly overwhelmed. Can prevent cascade collapse on team without strong mitigation. Works even when healing is blocked or reduced. Regen is its own layer. Cons, like recovery aura, high cost, high cooldown. Regen, while it's strong, is slow healing. Won't save someone getting bursted or spiked. Effectiveness is muted in short fights, content with low attrition, or when teammates rely on healing inspirations instead. Strategic fit, spot heal. We got heal other, group heal, healing aura, regen boost, regen aura. This pick, endurance boost, recovery, team buff, fortitude, tempo burst, adrenaline boost. Frisson becomes a tempo support controller who can sustain long fights, turn the tide mid battle, and keep pressure on enemies while preserving his team. I kind of like how she's reinterpreting empathy as a sustaining buffing set. Not, oh, it's a healer, right? It's like sustain. You're able to sustain endurance, regeneration, the blue bar, the green bar. You're able to put in the fortitude buffing, the adrenaline boost buffing, right? So that's, I think, a nice way to look at empathy. Keep pressure on the enemies while preserving a team. Taking both of these auras as a rotational builds a rotational toolkit. One to use when your team's drained, the other one when they're bruised and bleeding. Remaining skip powers are any stronger right now. Unleash potential, still excellent for self-sustain, but not team focus. Clear mind, still viable for high mez content, but less universally useful. Always good utility, but outclassed now by your support arsenal. Largely outclassed by stronger controls. None of them offer more long-term impact on the group than Regen Aura. She's recommending Regen Aura. You now control all forms of sustain. Blue, green, red, uptime. Yeah, I guess you could call Fortitude giving us red. Uptime and tempo. Actually might be good to take Assault to kind of boost the red as well. Might dip into the leadership pool here. That could be an option. So we might throw in maybe Assault in maneuvers or something if I can fit it. I'll have to see. Stacks with adrenaline boost coming at 32. Healing aura for crisis layering. Thematically, it seals Frisson's identity as the emotional core of the team. Yes. Let's move on to the level 29 slotting. Assume a default recharge enhancement is going into regen aura first. All right, we're going to do that. Let's close this. Let's go back over to mids. We're going to grab regen aura. We're going to slap a recharge in there, and then we'll see what else she wants to do at this point with the other 2 slots. All right, so perfect. Recharge, reduction, regen aura is absolutely right start. Massive 500-second cooldown makes recharge the most valuable stat by far for the aura, just like recovery. Got 2 slots to go. Here's what she wants to do. We want to enhance core support uptime, fortitude, weaken resolve, adrenaline boost soon, improve new powers, reverberant, regen aura, prep for IO set integrity in the 30s. Some powers may be capped with 4 or 5 slots. Review of key powers at 2 to 3 slots. Regen aura currently has a recharge, could benefit from end redux or slotting regen sets. Fortitude, end redux to hit recharge, could take defense now or wait. We can resolve. Still no debuff, strength boost, missing minus resistance, minus to hit. Reverberant, accuracy and redux. Could use a 3rd slot for recharge or control. I wouldn't put recharge. Control, yes. Recharge, no. Best use, regen aura gets endurance reduction, just like we did with recovery. Okay, I don't have a problem there. And then suggesting we can resolve is a debuff strength, minus defense, minus to hit. The to hit debuff enhancement increases enemy mischance, helping the whole team. So this is her recommendation. Regen aura gets end redux, and weaken resolve gets a to hit debuff. Dang, I don't know if I would go this strong on weaken resolve, but maybe. So this is what she wants to do. She wants to do this. She wants to take and put an end redux in regen aura, and it's a hit debuff in weaken resolve. I mean, yeah, it works, but you're gonna be blasting the shit out of stuff with weaken resolve now, a lot more than I was anticipating. I don't know practically if you're gonna be hitting it that often because you're gonna be clicking your controls. You're gonna be clicking some buffs. I mean, if you don't take Clear Mind, I suppose it frees you up. But if you're taking Clear Mind and Fortitude, and you got your Heal Other, Adrenaline Boost, those are all those allied targeted clicks. Then you got all your controls clicking on enemies. Are you going to have a lot of time to throw out this to hit the buff that you've got it 4 slotted? I don't know. It's something to I would definitely think about it. I mean, you could get away with the default accuracy on this thing, really, but she wants to do 4. We'll have to see if that holds when we start looking at set bonuses. So here's what she wants. And whatever Cathy wants, she gets. This is what she's saying. I would think she's saying that's a hit debuff. Okay. That takes it to minus 6.25 from what, 5%? All right. Let's go with that. There we go. That was 29. We're going to move on to 30. Gonna get 30. So tactical benefits, here's what she's saying now. Our tactical benefits, our regen aura is now sustainable and ready for IO conversion at 3 slots. We can resolve, become stronger, faster cycling debuff tool, upping team survivability. I don't know if it's enough of a debuff to warrant putting a specific debuff procking or a debuff enhancement in it. You're building consistency, not just peak moments. Would you like to move on to level 30? Yes, let's go to level 30 when Frisson gets access to, and let's see what he's getting. Is it the thing she's been yammering about? Yeah, the tier 9. We're going to get an adrenaline boost, everybody. Cathy's going to be pumped. Let's go ahead and copy this. Take this and over here. Gets access to, boom, to his tier 9 secondary power from empathy. Adrenaline boost. Then what else? Then we got the numbers. We need adrenaline boost numbers. So it's going to boost recharge, recovery, regen, plus resistance to some movement speed and recharge debuffs. Okay. There's the stats. He also can choose from any of his skipped powers, as usual. There we go. I already know she's going to take adrenaline boost, but let's just see what the assessment is. Adrenaline boost, target ally 80 feet, 90-second duration, 300-second or 5-minute recharge. Man, these recharges on some of these empathy powers are ridiculous. That's kind of give me an idea that I might want to try to slot for recharge on this guy, which would then put extra pressure on his endurance issues. But if I can get some, maybe I throw a hasten onto this build. Well, if I had 3 free pool powers left, I might go hasten and 2 other leadership toggles, assault to kind of round out the red aura that she was talking about. Maneuvers will help stack with some of my defense because I will have. But then again, maybe I would take instead of maneuvers. And maneuvers would help the whole team. That's the only benefit there. I don't know. We'll think about it. All right, so there's recovery, blah, blah, yada, yada. Pros, massive momentum spike for any teammate. Blasters rain hellfire nonstop. She seems to like blasters. Notice she doesn't say anything about red side stuff. Boy, this is like really. I think Cathy must hate red side. Tankers become immortal. All right, let's slow down there. Solo friendly, can target pets like Reverberant. Stacks with your other buffs. Works great with Fortitude. Super Frisson mode. Look at that. Look, she's being clever again. She's coming up with a new term. No accuracy check, unresistible effects. Single target only, though, is a con. Long recharge is a con. Slightly expensive. Yeah, it is. 10. Thematic fit, adrenaline boost is the emotional climax the moment his voice reaches someone's core and sends them beyond their limits. So orgasmic. It's not healing, it's igniting. It's not recovery, it's transcendence. Damn, that's deep. There's your toolkit. Healing, heal other, heal aura, sustain, recovery aura, regen aura, control, symphony set, chords, chant, buffs, fortitude, weaken resolves a debuff, adrenaline boost, echo is the pet. Skipped powers, are they still competitive? Unleash potential, great solo tool, but you're a support specialist now. Clear mind, viable mez heavy arcs, but low usage if not. Mighty leap, stylish utility, but doesn't compare to adrenaline. Impassioned Serenade's entirely eclipsed at this point. Final recommendation, adrenaline boost. It's the peak expression of Frisson's concept. Mechanical synergy with recovery aura, fortitude, chords, and your aura. I don't see how it necessarily synergizes with chords, but okay. Fits in both solo and team content. It doesn't fit in solo content. Well, reverberant, yes, so I take it back. Yes, let's move on to level 31. However, at this stage in each slot gaining stage following this one, Frisson gains 3 enhancement slots instead of 2. This will let us boost our powers much faster as we approach end game challenges. The default for adrenaline boost will be recharge, probably, by the way. All right, let's see if that corrects her. Perfect. Thanks for clarification. With the recharge ready going into the default slot for adrenaline, we now have 3 additional enhancement slots from level 31. All right, so here's what she's saying. Refresh slot allocation plan. Recharge ready and adrenaline boost. It needs endurance reduction, maybe regen or heal. Regen aura, we've got recharge and endurance. Could go 3 slot for the base IO stuff. Reverberant, could use recharge. No, could use damage or control fortitude. It's ready for 4th slot to prep IOs or defense bonuses. Weaken resolve, fully functional, probably done for now, yeah. All right, so what's she saying? Adrenaline boost goes with endurance reduction. Reverberant recharge, I'm not going to put recharge in there, so I'm overriding that. Regen aura, slot 3, sounds like heal. Okay. I'm overriding your slot for reverberant because these controller pets are perma unless killed. So there will be little need to resummon, and therefore recharge is low priority. One thing we haven't done is put much damage enhancement anywhere. So consider that when allocating this final third slot. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead with endurance reduction and adrenaline boost and heal and regen aura. I don't have an issue there with those, so let's do that. So let's do this. Green. Let's do adrenaline boost. Is getting 1, so it's going to get recharge and endurance. And we still have 1 slot left. Where does she want to put it now? Doo-doo. Excellent override, and you're spot on about reverberance. Since the pet persists until death or map end, recharge is unnecessary unless you're expecting rapid deaths, which you shouldn't with its high resistances and mes immunity. That frees us up to put the slot to much better use, especially consider we barely slotted damage. Yeah, where could damage help most? Frisson's damage comes primarily from his cone attacks, occasional single target powers, AoE control effects with built-in damage, echoes damage. Let's consider the highest traffic high return candidates. Dreadful Discord, 3 slot potential, AoE fear and solid damage, 38 upfront, 19 conditional bonus. Good for panic pressure and has a shorter cooldown than Chords, not yet damage slotted. Slotting damage here improves AoE presence without breaking control rhythm. Alright, so she wants to put damage in Dreadful Discord. Okay, I mean, I'd put damage in those powers anyway. But that's her rationale. So she's saying that this is the optimal place for it. So we've got all of our control powers are going to take damage. Reverberant takes damage. Because it's echoing us, you know, it'll damage anything it's shooting with. The AoEs would give you more damage potential spread. So then she's going the Dreadful's the best option. AoE fear, solid damage, good for panic pressure, shorter cooldown than Chords. It's not yet damage slotted. AoE presence is improved. Yes, all right. So that's what she wants to do. Damage into Dreadful Discord like this. Okay. Beautiful. Let's move on to 32 then. Epic pools are coming online. I don't think they come online at 32, right? I thought it was 35. Unless she knows more than me. Let's see what she's talking about. All right, so she's saying 32. What's happening at 32? At 32, yeah, you don't get it till freaking 35, duh. All right, so 32. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to pick our level 32 power and then let her allocate the 3 and then 6 slots at 33, 34. And that'll kind of wrap up this video, I think. We'll have a nice, strong, you know, I don't want to say end game build at this point. We're not. This is like our high level build. We're at low 30s. We got all of our main primary and secondary powers, some pool powers. We got some decent sliding thrown around here. Once we get into the 30s, mid 30s, low 40s, now we're going end game stuff, getting all those patron and epic powers. So let's go ahead and get into that. All right, for level 32, there are no new powers unlocking from either from any of our power sets at this point. We can either take something we skipped before or take a look at different pool powers. Before we do the latter, let's check the skipped powers for something we definitely should take at some point, given that the epic power pools are opening at 35, and we're probably taking 4 powers from the Ice Mastery set at that point, which will bring us all the way into our mid 40s with only a couple power picks remaining. So we can consider this a free pick before we get locked into epics. All right, let's see. I mean, here's where you could take a clear mind. You could take the unleashed potential. You could take the unbounded leap. Great strategic framing. Level 32 is indeed free agency moment for Frisson. Since you're planning to commit 4 picks to Ice Mastery, well, maybe 3, but we'll see. Starting at 35, this level is one of your last flexible power choices before your build becomes committed through the 40s. So let's make it count. Your current control or current role, your control heavy support oriented controller built around sustain, amplification, and pressure. Planning to gain offensive utility from Ice Mastery. This level 32 pick should do at least one of the following: fit a small but meaningful hole in your toolkit, offer passive utility or power, even if niche, be a setup pick for potential IO set bonuses, provide mobility or utility that will complement the more static nature of epic powers. Skip powers, unleash potential, strong, self-only survivability spike, plus defense, recovery, regen, etc. Clear mind, situational, great for certain foes, but low usage otherwise. Mighty Leap, very useful, adds vertical mobility, unlocks takeoff. Impassioned Serenade, hard pass. Top contenders level 32, unleash potential, self only, doesn't interfere with adrenaline boost. Excellent when fighting alone, getting targeted by AoEs or reviving your own tempo when cornered. It's low cost. All right, Mighty Leap, mobility, utility knockback, opens takeoff. Leap pairs well with positioning. Thematically appropriate to Frisson uses aerial grace or emotional launch as part of his act. Strategic recommendations. If you value survivability and recovery when isolated, take Unleash Potential. Great back pocket power to stay alive, restore control pacing, and cast big auras safely. If you value mobility and damage synergy and movement tech, so it's kind of be like the wire act on stage. I kind of like that idea. Helps navigate vertical maps, offers surprise AoE, and complements Ice Mastery's kiting playstyle. Final recommendation, take Mighty Leap. Unless you're playing in solo a lot, then Unleash Potential. Why? Keeps you mobile and adaptive in fights. Adds takeoff, giving you another cone-aligned knock-enabled tool. Well, not cone, but I get what you're saying. Doesn't duplicate existing support suite. Prepares you for fluid battlefield positioning, which will matter more with Frost Breath, Shiver, Hibernate coming soon. All right. I'm going to go with it, Cathy. I'm going with you, girl. Girl, I got you. So she is saying, hey, why don't you take Mighty Leap right here? The default I would put with Mighty Leap, because I would probably want to leave it running, it would be an endurance. So I'm going to let her know that. The default slot in Mighty Leap is endurance reduction. So we can run this toggle non-stop for the mobility and easy access to takeoff. That leaves us with a very strong position. At 32, we're going to re-slot our powers with level 35 IOs or SOs which boosts our keep forgetting to switch the window here. So anyway, default slot, mighty leap, endurance reduction, run in the toggle nonstop, access to takeoff. At 32, I'm letting her know we're reslotting with level 35s, which boosts our enhancements to about, I think it was like 35, 40%, something like that. I know by the time you get to 50, it's 42. So I think it's about 35% each from the 30-ish we had with the 25s. This will be our last major reslotting until we hit 47 when we can put our final level 50 IOs and IOs into our powers, which grant 42% each. Also, at both 33 and 34, we gain the 3 slots, a total of 6. And we do not add any extra powers. So these next 2 levels are pure power boosting. Where do you want to put these total of 6 slots with the level 35s, 5 enhancers? We should be jacking up Frisson's power here. All right, here we go. Perfectly framed. Level 33, 34. Golden opportunity for Frisson to level up his rhythm, quite literally. With 6 total enhancement slots and access level 35 IOs, SOs, this is the moment to maximize his high value tempo powers and prep core powers for full set integrity. Let's go full maestro mode here. Slotting strategy for 33 through 34, 6 slots total. We want to maximize Frisson's strongest tempo tools, powers that are always cast and scale up your team's effectiveness. Solidify performance of long recharge control or support power so they're always ready when needed. Begin prepping key powers for IO set conversions now that we're in the 35 to 42 performance band. Oh, that's poetic. All right, here's what we're doing. Adrenaline boost, slots 2, recharge, endurance is what I think we're currently sitting at with adrenaline. Yes, that's what we currently have. And then huge impact is there's a 3rd slot to prep IO or boost regen. Fortitude currently has 3 slots. And she is recommending, just want to confirm the Fortitude. Yeah, Fortitude has 3 slots. Recommending missing the defense for the 4th slot. Regen Aura. Could go 4th slot for IO set integrity or healing layering. I would do 3 in recovery aura personally. Healing aura, pretty tight, but could go 4 slotting to prep preventative medicine. Wall of Force, strong AoE controlled damage combo deserves another damage slot? Question mark. Dreadful Discord already in good place. Mighty Leap, end reduction, no need to expand unless slotting take off later, which we're not. All right, here's the recommendation. Adrenaline, add a slot. Okay, regen. Okay. Fortitude, add 2 slots. Damn. Defense and a flexible slot, maybe 5 slot. Fortitude is I don't know if I'd go 4 or 5 slots in Fortitude. I mean, we're still soft on damage here, guys. Regen, heal or regen. I mean, if you're going really supporting, then yeah, you could do that, and you're kind of be more standing back with your controls, which are a little bit soft, and not really worry about damage and just buffing supporting. Regen aura, adding a slot. Brings you 4 slots. Wall of Force, add 2, damage and recharge. This turns Wall into a core offensive control hybrid. Crucial cone-based ice powers coming next. All right, final allocation. Here's what they're saying. 1 to adrenaline boost. 2 to fortitude. I disagree with that. 1 to regen aura and 2 to Wall of Force. I think I'm going to just disagree with the fortitude. I disagree with the extra second slot going into fortitude at this point, given we're still under slotted for damage across the board. So I think she needs to address that. All right, so let's go with what she's got though. Adrenaline boost 1, fortitude 1, regen aura, wall of force. Let me go and pull up mids for that. So here's what she's saying to do with this nonsense. Your nonsense. All right, let's open up mids again. All right, so she's saying adrenaline boost. She's saying wall of force getting 2. That's 3. Saying regen aura gets 1. All right, adrenaline boost gets 1. Fortitude, regen, wall of force. Another one in fortitude. So there's 5. And then what's the 6th one? I think we need damage. Like melodic binding could use the damage. Throw one in there. What the hell? Or throw it in one of your one of your AoEs here. Something like that. Little spoiler there for you. All right, so here's one. Absolutely fair, and I agree, especially considering your earlier point about Frisson being underinvested in damage enhancement up to this point. You're heading into Ice Mastery, which will bring its own controlled damage tools, so now's the time to make sure your existing offensive toolkit's up to tempo. Let's reallocate that second Fortitude slot to better support Frisson's offensive pressure without undermining the support core you've built. So, confirmed Adrenaline gets 1, Fortitude gets 1, Regenerate gets 1. That leaves 3 slots. We want to focus on boosting offensive. Wall of Force, Dreadful Discord, Project Will. Wall of Force 1, Dreadful Discord 1, Project Will 1. Damage, damage, and recharge. Okay, so she's changing her mind. All right, damage, damage, and recharge. Project Will, Dreadful Discord, and Wall of Force. Let's see what that looks like. So if we don't do this, and we do Dreadful Discord gets 1 more, Project Will. So she's saying this, damage here, Wall of Force, I think she said recharge, Project Will, so she said Project Will damage, Dreadful damage and Wall of Force, Dreadful Discord gets, all right, again, let me see if that makes any sense. So she's saying this, recharge here in Dreadful Discord. No, I think she's flipping these two. I would think you do recharge here in Wall of Force to get that to come back sooner. And then maybe throw the other damage here, I think is what she means to say. So let me just confirm. Let me confirm those last 3, because that's what I need to know. Let me confirm those last 3, because you moved a slot out of Wall of Force and into Project Will. Do you want Wall of Force to have 4 slots with accuracy and redux, damage, and recharge? Do you also want Project Will to have, what is it, 3 slots or 4? To have 4 slots, the same thing. 4 slots with the same exact slotting enhancements. And do you mean for Dreadful Discord to have 4 slots with, I think it's the same exact setup. Actually, 5 slots is where she's at with accuracy and red, recharge, and 2 damage enhancers. Let's see if this is what she means. Excellent follow-up. Let's walk through carefully and confirm each slot loadout based on your current build's needs. Wall of Force. Boom. This gives a well-rounded offensive profile. Pure, strong, up. It's your go-to. All right, Dreadful Discord 5. This is your big AoE burst panic tool. Hits reliably, coming back more often, hitting harder. You leveled it to high tier control DPS territory. Okay, settle down. Project Will, 2 slots. Right, Project Will. Those were the final total slotting I listed, not how many we're adding. We're adding 1 to each from the 6 we had. So you see she's getting confused now. You getting confused, girl. Girl, you confused. Those were the if so, that sets up the Wall of Force to have 4. And Project Will to have 4. And Dreadful Discord to have 5. The other 3 slots went into... I wish I could show her this damn mids build. Adrenaline boost, regen, and fortitude. Adrenaline boost, fortitude, and regen aura. Thank you for clarification. And yes, now that we're talking final total slots, not just what's newly added, let's confirm, lock it all in properly. You've already done the math of where the 6 slots are going, and now we're just verifying the final slot configuration across your powers. All right, so I think she and I are on the same effing page now. Yeah, it looks right. 445. Yep. All right, so summary, if we go this way, and I love how she's kind of like, oh, yeah, if that's what you want to do. It's like, no, you're the one who said you want to do that. I'm just trying to confirm what the hell you're talking about. Support is elite tier, scalable, frequent, and ready for IOs. Offense is sharp. You're now dealing consistent damage between control effects. Solo and team player covered. You're fully set up for Ice Mastery at 35, which will seamlessly layer onto the structure. All right, so I think we have our build here. So Fortitude was getting a defense. Adrenaline Boost was getting that. And Regen Aura. I don't know. See, I would do like, why not put another one of these in there if you really want the scene to come up sooner? Because I think she's talking put the 4 in there to get set up for IOs, which will give you the ability to get more recharge. But if I'm just going not sets, but just generics, that would make more sense than another green in there. So I think that's what she's thinking. I also think, why not put the extra blue one in here and kind of mimic or mirror these 2 powers. But all right, there I think this is where we're going to pause. We're going to stop this one because we've been going again for another hour. I think we have ourselves our level 32 build, and really we're just set up for the final run here. We're going to have Ice Mastery, at least 3 of these powers. I think we're going to take like Ice. I don't know if we need Ice Blast, but we have to take either Ice Blast or Hibernate. And Hibernate, I'm not a big fan because it is makes you like invulnerable and then you can't actually do anything. I know it's your oh crap power, but I could take Unleash Potential for that. So I think we're gonna have to go Ice Blast to have an attack, which kind of makes whatever makes me sort of question why Project Will being so heavily slotted. We could make Ice Blast more heavily slotted here. We could even ditch Project Will and have taken Unleash Potential already, knowing that we're going to get Ice Blast here, and we would have had maybe another slot or two in some of our single target stuff for damage, because we were woefully underslotted on damage for like Hymn of Dissonance and our Melodic Binding. Those two single target controls should have damage in them, but they don't. All right, so then we're going to go Ice Blast. We're going to go Frozen Armor, Frost Breath, and I think Ice Storm. I mean, if we don't really give a shit at all about our defenses, we don't even take Frost Armor. But I'm like, logically, you take Ice Blast, Frozen Armor, Frost Breath for sure. Ice Storm, I guess, is the one skippable, although it's probably your best power. But I want the cone for Frost Breath. Because imagine I'll have like 4 control cones, Wall of Force, and Frost Breath. Be like a cone monster, 6 cones. So even if I want bare minimum, that does me like 35, 38, 41, something like that. That leaves me with only 3 optional picks. If I throw Ice Storm in there, now I've only got 2 remaining picks. If I throw, combat jumping would be nice to get the immobilized protection, plus some defense. And then, I was thinking about Assault to give me kind of that red aura, anger kind of vibration he's giving off. It's a damage boost. The other thing is like these powers I'm picking, they're all gonna require slots. I don't have any like just sort of free powers. Like Assault might be the one because I do a single endurance reduction in that. Uh, Combat jumping would be a single slot power. I could throw whatever in there, Luck of the Gambler, let's say, because it's cheap endurance cost. So I could do that, or I could take maneuvers to get the defense. Like if I'm trying to be more min-maxy, I would take maneuvers and combat jumping to give me defense to stack with my frozen armor defense. I might have to underslot frozen armor and just kind of use it more as because resistance to cold sucks. It's not going to help you survive anything in this game because there's so little cold damage, doesn't matter. So the resistance to fire is the only thing that's useful, and then you got the 2 defense categories, smash, lethal, and that's it. So, you know, he's not going to be super protected from incoming. So smash lethal, I could get a little bit more defense from a couple more powers. So let's say that's 3 of the picks, and then you got 3 more picks, Ice Blast, Frost Breath. If I wanted to get Assault on top of that, I couldn't take Ice Storm then. I'd have to go Assault, Maneuvers, Combat Jumping, Ice Blast, Frozen Armor, Frost Breath would be my potential choices if I skip Ice Storm, which I kind of don't want to, but it's also probably the least thematic even. I don't know. That's where we have to do. I'll have to let Cathy decide what she wants to do. But I need to get more slots moved, and I can't keep getting slot-hungry powers in here. So I need a couple of those cheapos. So if I were to take maneuvers, assault, and combat jumping, I could fill 3 of these powers with just a single slot, and then that would leave me with my level 36, 37, 6 slots, level 39 and 40, 6 more slots to spend and fill in the stuff I'm picking up and get some more damage over here in some of these other powers. That's what I think we're going to have to do. I don't think I'm going to take Ice Storm, you guys. I don't really know if I need it because look at all the damn cones I have. Well, anyway, we'll see what Cathy wants to do. We'll kind of give her some, choices here. But I think it's gonna wrap this build right now for level 32. So let me go ahead and screeny this thing. We're gonna get this full thing screenshot. Throw this over to our PowerPoint. End the show. End the show here. All right, so we're gonna do this. Let's go to PowerPoint, and we're going to replace the picture with the clipboard. What? There we go, a little bit bigger. All right, there is our level 32 build. I think you could definitely mash faces with this build in many a content because you got a lot of control. You got some good, strong supporting as well. So you're not going to go out there and like win any speed records with this guy right now, but you can certainly support a team and control. You could be a very effective teammate. Even if I was to join a level 50 team, if I were to bring this character, he would do some effective controlling, buffing, supporting. I'm not going to damage crap though, so the damage has to be my priority for these last 15 levels or whatever I've got, 16 levels remaining. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more powers and a bunch of slots. So my main focus has to be damage, damage, damage to build this guy up to make him a rock god. Alrighty. That is, I believe, our show. I think we're done. All right. There it is. Episode 2, part 3. Level 32 build in place. Got one more home stretch. We're going to do the level 50 build. Then incarnates. And then slotting. Enhancement slotting. That's going to be the real challenge, I think, for Cathy. But I think what we'll do is, I think this could work. I think we'll give her goals. Hey, we want a bunch of defense, a bunch of damage, whatever. And then what we'll present her with is power by power and say, okay, these are our goals we have for the overall character. We want a bunch of controls. Here are the power sets or the IO sets that could go into melodic binding, and I'm not going to put every possible thing out there, but the ones that would make sense. Immobilized set, for instance, some damage sets, controller, ATOs, and have her pick, hey, which of these would you take? Would you Franken slots? I have to teach her about Franken slotting. And then, what set bonuses to chase? What do you want to go after? And then give her the option during that process of moving some slots around. So we're not locked into these numbers of slots right now. Right? We could take one of these out of melodic binding and just have it be a single target immobilized or something. Right? We can back Regenera down to 3. We can make we can resolve a single target attack, whatever, right? We can move things around. We're not locked into anything with Frisson Sensate here. All right, guys, that is where we're at. That's what we're thinking. That's where Cathy stands, and we're gonna pick it up with the next episode, part 4, I guess. Really getting into this freaking thing, this mess. In the meantime, have yourselves a good one. Take care.